So here we are in Bitwig, and today's video is going to be a sound design video. We're going to look at making a lead sound inside of Vital. So without further ado, let's open up Vital and get into it. So here we have Vital. We're going to start by switching on oscillator 2 as well. So we're going to have 2 oscillators here. And this is all about the detuning for this sound. And what do I mean by this? Well, in this section here, we have our transpose where we can go -12, +12, being an octave. Anything in between that range from 1 to 12 is our semitones. Now, if we start playing in semitones, we can get some different results. Now, I'm going to leave this on 3, and then what I'm going to do is we're just going to turn the voices up. So let's go 16, and let's put this on to like 15, for example. This one can go to like 25, maybe. Leave this one where it is, and we end up with this. Okay, let's just remember the pitches. So if we go to 7, we get a slightly happier kind of ravey sound. And then on 10, if we put this up to 7 again, you'll see it's happier. And if we have it on 3, we've got a slightly darker feel to this sound. So it's all about where we have this detuning here as to the type and style of sound we want. We kind of get that ravey vibe as we go into 7. On 3, we get that kind of darker vibe. And there are some other settings as well. You can also consider adding another oscillator and detuning that off as well to get some other types of vibes and emotions from your sound. We're going to go with the darker one today, and that's the sort of sound we're making. So the next thing we want to take into consideration is adding a filter. So let's come to the filter. Let's go for a bandpass notch here. So we're going to take the beginning of this up a bit like this, I reckon. We can also bring this down a bit like that. And we want this to move like this. So to do that, we're going to need to set up the LFO. So we'll put the LFO onto here. And let's just dial this in. Also make sure that you have oscillator 2 running through here. So now we're really close to the type of sound we want. All we need to do is go and polish this off a bit by adding some effects. We start with the chorus. We bring the mix down a bit, and we bring the voices down to like 8 voices. We'll then go and add a bit of equalizer on here. We'll just take a little bit of the bottoms off of this sound. And then we go to the reverb, just to give it a bit of space. We'll take the lows down to about here somewhere, but we'll just cut them to about 200 hertz, something like that. The mix can go up a tiny bit. One other thing we can do is just take this from trigger mode and put this in envelope mode. So one way to make this slightly more your own and play about is to use different wavetables. So for example, if we go to the basic shapes now, what do we end up with? Those were your basic shapes, but what about if we were to use a more kind of crazy noise? Let's go with a squish flange. Squish flange. So you can see here we start to get some different flavors as well, and there's nothing wrong if you come over here and start manipulating these as well. So we could have one go one way, one go the other way, like this. One goes up, one goes down, and then we get this. So you can see we can start to take this classic preset and make it a little bit more our own by playing around with some of these parameters. So I'm going to leave this one here. I hope this has been interesting for you guys and you learned something, and I'll catch you all on the next one.